Right. So tell me, you've been around with Backfire for a long time, right?
Yeah, I've known those guys for ages. Met those guys, geez, it's been fucking 12, 13 years ago now. It's been a long time.
Yeah, how did it happen?
Well, first I want to say something about Backfire. Okay. Backfire is a great group of guys, right? But there's 3 phases of Backfire. I'm going to give you a little history on Backfire right now. The first phase, the young European hardcore band, the poster boys for Lost and Found Records. Back in 1996, their first European tour with Warzone. First met those guys. I had no idea who they were beforehand. I flew over, we flew into Frankfurt, Germany. Met those guys at the club the first night, got to know them. 6-week tour, had one hell of a time in Europe. If I can go back and do that again, I would live through that tour again in a heartbeat. There were so many good times, few bad times, but it was worth it. And as for Backfire, they were cool guys right from the start, man. But you had Frank, the quiet one. You had Weep, who was the shy boy. You had Richard, who was the leader of the band, Richie Backfire. And then you had Patrick. Patrick was always one of the best frontmen. From the first time I saw that guy sing, I was like, wow, this band's got something. They were such a cool group of band. And what I loved about them, they were playing old school hardcore. And I told them, I said, keep it old school. Do not go to hip hop, do not go to metal. Keep it old school hardcore. And they've done that. They're one of the best bands to do that. They were touring on the Rebel for Life CD. To this day, that's still one of the best CDs ever. That's one of the best hardcore CDs to me ever. I love that CD. Really got to meet those guys. And just a great time. I mean, that tour was so amazing. They got such a great reception all over Europe. Like I said, they opened up for Warzone. It was like 6 weeks, the middle of November, December. Everybody was totally into them. They put on a great show. That was the first phase of Backfire. The second phase of Backfire is the complete raving lunatic phase that they went through. They started to blow up. They've been on a couple record labels now, playing great shows, having a great reaction, tight as hell, a great band, but they were complete maniacs, and everyone who knows them will tell you that they were maniacs. They're the type of band that if you play a show with them, and you have to do anything with them after the show, you want to make sure you know what you're doing. They will talk you into drinking. They will get you so wasted. They will somehow just get you fucked up. And then the dangerous thing about them was they will fuck up anything they get their hands on. Okay, hotels. When you play a show with Backfire, you're done with the show. You drink after the club. Got to go back to a hotel. If you're in a different band, the one thing you got to do is you got to make sure they do not know where your room is. You have to find your hotel room before they find theirs. Get in the hotel room door, keep it closed, and do not let them know where you are. Because if they know where you are, they're going to fuck with you. And they're going to fuck the whole place up. And another thing, you just got to pray that the next morning the whole hotel is not burnt down. You got to pray you're alive the next morning. Because when you wake up the next morning and you leave your room, the hotel is not going to look like the hotel you entered in from the night before. Every single thing that's not nailed down is going to be smashed. Every single fire hose, there's going to be water all over the floor. Every single thing that was on the ground is now going to be stuck in the ceiling. Every single thing that was a part of the wall is now smashed to bits. And see, what they do is, then they get really wasted, you know? And by 8 a.m., they're ready to pass out. But by 8, 9 a.m., you got to leave the hotel. So now you go downstairs. Now the hotel manager and the police are there. They want to know what the hell happened. It ain't the Americans, it's the Dutch. The Dutch are the ones that fuck shit up. See, but in Europe, they don't got laws. So they don't get in trouble for any of that. The police show up. The police go to the hotel room, knock on the door. They wind up getting Backfire's autograph, and that's it. Nothing ever happens. Those guys have fucked up more shit than I've seen any other band. I mean, they had a great time doing it, and it was a great time being a part of it, but they were complete and utter maniacs. That's the second phase of Backfire. Then you got the third phase of Backfire. That's the more mature. They've been on a couple record labels. They've been there, done that. That's the current Backfire, the latest version of Backfire. They've been through life, so they got to calm down a bit. But they're still playing kick-ass shows, and they're still playing good old school hardcore, and they're doing it for the right reasons, and they're having a good time. And I think that's what we all want to do. In the long run, we just want to play good hardcore and have a good time. Backfire has always done that. They're one of the best bands at doing that. So, all the members through the years, Richie, Frank, Patrick, Weep, Igor, Dave, you guys are fucking awesome. You guys are maniacs. And I know that I have not seen the last of Backfire. Whether I see Backfire again down here, or whether I see Backfire again up there sometime, I'm going to see Backfire on the same stage again at some point. That's what I got to say about Backfire.
Nice one. I don't know if the lights in the back are annoying. It's like the red light flashing all the time.
Want to move like to another location?
I don't know. It's a good story. So you toured together. I mean, just do some name dropping, whatever.
Yeah. I first went to Europe, like I said, with Warzone in the summer of 1996. And the one good thing was that every year, I used to go to Europe a lot. I still do, but when I first met Backfire, I met all the M-Town guys, Dave from Right Direction, the whole M-Town crew. That's one good thing about that town. That town was so together with the hardcore. They were like, you want to talk about a family, a New York family? M-Town had the family. Those guys were so connected, and they were so like supporting each other. It was amazing. It was one of the best scenes that I've ever seen in the whole world. But I used to go back there a lot. Every year I would go back just to hang out. I would go for like a month at a time. And the second year I went back, Richie Backfire, he said, yo, you're coming with me. He picked me up at the train station, took me to the house he was living in, center of M-Town, and we had such fun, man. Those guys were so great, so gracious to me, just totally taking care of me. I mean, every time I would go back, years and years, I would go back to M-Town, and if not one of the members, all the members, they would always come to hang out. I mean, it was so cool. And they definitely, like I said, they kept playing the good style hardcore, which I totally love. So it's always a pleasure seeing those guys. And they started getting a name for themselves. I mean, like, besides Europe, everybody knows them all over Europe, but even here in America, I mean, it's tough for a European hardcore band to get known over here. I mean, you know, Americans spoiled. New York is spoiled. We got all the bands here already, you know? And to make a name for yourself over in here in New York and over in America, like Backfire did, that's pretty impressive. Those guys are very impressive.
So what do you think is like, especially New York, what's the connection? Do you think there's like similar things that especially New York got that Backfire connects to them, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, Backfire, like I said, it's great the style of music that they play, but all the New York bands that would travel through Europe would get to know the Backfire guys, because they would come out, like I said in the beginning, Richie Backfire, he made the connections at all the shows. The Backfire guys, whether they played at the show or whether they just showed up at the show. I mean, they just got to know all the New York guys, and it turned into like a really good family, people supporting each other. Every time New York bands would go over, theirs would be the Backfire guys, you know, hanging out. And if they weren't playing with the New York bands, you'd always see them. I mean, they were supporting all the hardcore bands from America, you know. Besides playing with them, they would just come to a show to hang out. And that was so cool. And all the New York bands and a lot of the U.S. bands just got to know them as really cool guys, you know. And then, yeah, they just started hanging out at all the shows. And when you went to Europe, you could sure enough expect to see Backfire, you know. You travel through Holland, you'll see those guys. They'll be at all the shows. It was great. It was such a great, you felt like you knew they were going to be there, so they were your family over there. You know, in New York, you have one family, you go over there, you got the Backfire family, and the whole M-Town family. Great guys.
And in New York, they played a couple of shows. What was it like?
Yeah, they first came over in 2003. They did, I think they did 3 shows. One of them was at CBGB's. They played with my band, Awkward Thought, and they got a great reaction. You know, I mean, like I said, people, even though people don't know a lot of European bands, they appreciate when a band comes over and it plays good hardcore. They appreciate that. So that was 2003. They came over and people got to know the name then. And then they came over last year for the Super Bowl of Hardcore, and they just totally tore it up. New York was like going crazy for them. It was great. They got such great support. And like I said, when you play hardcore that good, people are going to notice, you know. People are going to come out and support, and BACKFIRE is definitely a well-known band, and people appreciate the type of music they're playing.
And they recorded an album here? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, they came over a while ago. They recorded, I think it was the first record after Richie. Richie had unfortunately left the band. But yeah, they were here for I think 2-3 weeks. They recorded at Atomic Studio, which is in Brooklyn, not far from here. They had a bunch of guys. We met them at the studio. We were hanging out, you know. They got it done, and it was good. It was a good record. It came out pretty cool. They had a good time doing it. A lot of partying in New York.
And you were involved in actually the first record after.
Yeah, after Richie had died, I went to M-Town and I was hanging out, you know, just for a couple weeks. And at that time, BACKFIRE was writing Still Dedicated, and they were in the studio just doing rehearsal for it. And they needed some lyrics, so Patrick had asked me if I could write some. And I remember I was taking a train to Amsterdam, and then on the way home, I wrote 2 songs, just sitting on the train, thinking about M-Town, thinking about Europe, thinking about, you know, BACKFIRE. And I gave the 2 songs. I met Patrick that night in the studio. I gave him the 2 songs. He changed a few things in them, but pretty much used them for the record. So 2 of the songs are on Still Dedicated, and that was an honor to be able to be a part of that BACKFIRE record. It was a complete honor. I totally appreciate those guys letting that happen.
So are you thanked in the CD book for that?
Yeah, I think so. I think they did the right thing. I got credit, and I also got publishing rights. See that, you guys? You do the right thing all the time. You always do the right thing. The best.
And because I think you're like in New York the guy who's most connected to the band, and yeah, Richie, I think was a good friend of yours. What did you think when they continued playing?
Yeah, well, I mean, when Richie died, it was just the biggest shock. I mean, everybody knows that. Everybody was so sad. At the time, ever since I got to know him, he was always sort of like the leader of the band. He did a lot of the business. He was such a big part, for being a drummer, he was such a big part of the whole process of BACKFIRE, the whole music process, the whole touring process, everything. And when he died, it was sort of, you didn't know what would happen. You didn't know if they could go on without him. But they did. I mean, I was glad they did. I mean, it wasn't like they weren't capable of doing it, because Igor's a really good drummer, and Igor's a really cool guy. I think he had filled in for them before. But it was really great to see him go on, and it was the reaction they got from that record. It was like a tribute to Richie BACKFIRE, so it was really cool that it actually happened, you know. I'm glad that they continued and they didn't call it a day, because you know, like I said, good hardcore bands, you can't hold them down. So Richie was a big part of it, but they were still able to get over it and do a little bit without him, and it's only a tribute to him. Everything they've done since him is only a tribute to what he did when he started that band.
And now they're gonna quit. What you gotta say about it? I mean,
yeah,
do you understand it?
I was a little surprised when I heard they were quitting. I mean, it's tough, you know. It's tough to be in a band. I know it's hard to keep a band together for so long. A lot of people, you know, have different things they got to do in their life. People grow up. People do other things. But they've been at it for a long time. I mean, believe me, a lot of bands last 1 record and then they give it up because guys can't get together or anything like that. So it's disappointing that they're going to end, but I don't know. They're going out really strong. They're going out with a bang, and I don't know if it's the last of them really, so time will tell.
And I think it's nice to know, to have like a little bit the people tell about every band member. Can you yeah, from a New York perspective, what about, for example, Pat?
like I said, I go back way back when I first met those guys in 1996. They were such young guys, but right away they definitely had the heart. They definitely were into it. Patrick, from the moment I saw him on stage, I was just like, this guy is an incredible frontman. This guy, he's just got the presence. He's got the power in his voice. I was really impressed with him. I mean, you're talking, these were young guys, you know, and it's almost like they were already at like a different level. You know, the M-Town scene was so strong that they had already, like, you know, their first EP was already like at a level that was so high compared to a lot of other bands. I mean, Patrick, great guy, great singer, great frontman. I mean, a lot of heart. Frank's the quiet guy. He was the guy actually on the Warzone tour. I used to talk to him a lot because we would sit up in the front of the bus. The rest of the guys would be getting wasted, chain smoking in the back of the bus. So I talked a lot to Frank. You know, we hung out. Like I said, really quiet guy, down to earth, very cool, very good bass player too. Richie, you can't say enough about Richie BACKFIRE. When I met him, he's awesome. Of course, the guys that replaced Richie, Igor's an amazing drummer. Igor was just a part of the hardcore scene. He was in Home Thrust before BACKFIRE, and he's been there like as long as the BACKFIRE guys. So for him to step in and play for BACKFIRE was just like, it totally made sense, you know. And he's such a great guy, great drummer, totally dedicated. Then you got Weep. Weep's a little crazy. Weep's definitely a little nuts, you know, a little not there. Nah, Weep's a great guy, man. Great guitarist. First met him, yeah, he was like the shy one of the group, you know. He was Weep. I don't know if he was the youngest or something, but he's definitely a nut. But he's got, I would say, if any of them have the most weirdest sense of humor in the band, it's definitely Weep. That guy's like out there with the comments and the things that he does. A little crazy. The other guitarist that joined later, Dave, that guy is a complete nut. He doesn't only think about being nuts, he is actually nuts. I mean, I'm sure they have video on some of his craziness. If they don't, they're lying to you, because they have some crazy shit that guy's done. But great guitarist, amazing guitarist. First time I met him, actually I saw him playing. A lot of the M-Town bands play together. Right Direction, BACKFIRE, $400 Suits. He was filling in for $400 Suits at the time, and amazing guitarist, running around on stage, never missing a note. Awesome. As musicians, they've progressed. The first CD, Rebel for Life, to me, is just great old school hardcore. It's simple, but it's just classic. But you can definitely see that they've gotten tighter. They've gotten just more of a stage presence. Just as the years went on, you could just see them progress. And they never took a step down. They always kept taking steps up and kept moving forward and getting better and better and better as the years went on. A good band will do that, and that was BACKFIRE.
Yeah, what else can we tell about him? It's a good thing. You know more about him than I do, so.
Let me think. Here, stop for a second.
Yeah, yeah.
Stop? Well, there is a connection. Awkward Thought, my band, the band I sing for, has with BACKFIRE. Like I said, when I first came over in 1996, every night they would let me jump up on stage and sing a song with them. I used to sing Blue Fascism just about every night on that tour, and that was really cool. But the Awkward Thought only had a demo out at the time. Gave them that demo. M-Town guys were totally, like I said, they were so cool. They were such like part of a family that the M-Town Rebels compilation came out. And then M-Town Rebels 2 compilation came out, and Awkward Thought was a part of that. And that, like, you know, got us connected with the M-Town scene. And then after Rabies, the singer of Warzone, had died, there was a memorial show for him over in Maastricht in Holland, and Awkward Thought played that show. Of course, all the M-Town guys were there. It was a huge show. So, you know, we just got to know more and more people as the years went on over there. And like I said, those guys have always showed us respect. Every time we go there, it's just total hospitality towards us, you know. Whether it's a BACKFIRE guy, whether we crashed at their houses, whether they just took us out for a meal, took us out to the bar, anything. It was always so cool being like a part of that scene, a part of their scene. and feeling connected to them. And that's why I always wanted to return it. Every time they come to New York, I always tried to put those guys up, try to take care of them. Richie Backfire stayed with me for a couple weeks when he first came over. You know, it just goes around. If somebody really takes care of you like the way they've treated me in Europe, I totally want to take care of guys like that, you know. They totally deserve it. The connection is strong between us, you know. We've known each other for so many years. Sounds like 13, 14 years I've known those guys. And a lot of people, I can't say that about a lot of people, you know. People in the music scene, forget about it. There's so many people that I thought were like going to be doing this forever, and sure enough, 2 years later, they're gone. And these are people from New York or people that are from your hometown. Now you got people from 3,000 miles away over in Europe, and they're treating you closer than, you know, than friends you got over here. I mean, that just says a lot. I mean, total respect to all those European, that whole scene Backfire's a part of, and all those guys that have always taken care of us over there. It's totally appreciated.
Cheers.